against the Titans, Shedeur Sanders looked nothing like a rookie. His ability to diagnose coverages, step up in collapsing pockets, and deliver accurate throws under pressure turned heads, but not for the first time. What stood out most was his absolute command of the field. Every decision looked intentional, every movement calculated. This wasn't reaction, it was leadership in real time. The calm in his eyes matched the urgency of the moment, and it was that composure that prompted Cam Ward to speak so highly of him in the interview. Ward knows what command looks like, and he saw it.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
But leadership on the field only goes so far when the sidelines won't match it. Stefanski's reluctance to let Sanders truly run the offense isn't just a development issue. It's a risk to the team's entire trajectory. Sanders is proving he can elevate a franchise, but if the coaching staff remains stuck in a defensive mindset, the opportunity may slip away. The video makes it clear. Cleveland doesn't just have a gifted rookie. They have a franchise centerpiece in the making, and it's time to start coaching like it. Ward didn't just throw Shedeur Sanders a compliment. He threw him a torch. And in the world of football, when a respected quarterback goes out of his way to praise a rookie, it means something. It means the league is paying attention. It means the narrative is changing. And in this case, it means Shedeur Sanders is no longer just a talked-about prospect. He's a real contender, a leader, a franchise-level player making his presence known early, loud, and clear. Following a breakout performance against the Titans, Sanders left no doubt about whether or not he was ready for the NFL stage. Over 300 yards in the air, and not just racked up through safe checkdowns or broken coverages. He made smart, deliberate, veteran-level reads. He operated the pocket like he'd been doing it for a decade. Poise, control, and leadership poured out of every snap. This wasn't luck. This wasn't hype. This was execution at the highest level. And Cam Ward? He saw it. He acknowledged it. He recognized that Sanders isn't playing like a rookie, because in all the ways that matter, he's not. His control of the game, his ability to read defenses, to stay composed even under pressure, and to execute when everything's moving at full speed. These are not traits you usually find in a player still adjusting to the speed of the league. Sanders didn't just show he belongs. He showed he's already ahead of the curve. What makes it even more impressive is the context. Sanders didn't stroll into the NFL with universal praise. He came in under a microscope, scrutinized for his college competition, doubted because of where he came from and how people perceived his path, left out of early draft conversations. Analysts questioned whether his game would translate, whether he was ready, whether he could handle the pressure. And what did he do? He responded with facts, not flash. Execution, not excuses. He delivered a performance that made everyone stop and reconsider what they thought they knew. But even with all that upside, there's a problem. And it's not with Sanders. It's with the way he's being coached. Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland's head coach, is taking heat for a play-calling approach that feels stuck in fear. Rather than trusting Sanders to take the offense and run with it, Stefanski's calling games like he's trying to protect the team from failure. Conservative reads, safe throws, predictable progressions. It's like he's more worried about mistakes than he is excited by potential. And that's the disconnect. Because Shedeur Sanders is not a project. He's not a player you bring along slowly. He's a player you build around. A quarterback with the tools, the poise, and the leadership to make others better. And instead of unlocking that, Stefanski seems to be holding him back with a playbook written in caution tape. That kind of approach doesn't just limit an offense. It wastes talent. It stalls growth. And in this case, it could sabotage a rare opportunity for Cleveland to finally develop a homegrown franchise quarterback who doesn't just check the boxes, but redefines them. You can see the cracks forming already. The offense lacks rhythm. The game plans feel too careful. There's a reluctance to let Sanders dictate the flow. And when your rookie quarterback is showing maturity beyond his years, while the coaching philosophy screams doubt, that disconnect becomes a liability. This is where the conversation starts shifting. Because the praise Shedeur is getting from other players, especially someone like Cam Ward, doesn't just validate his performance. It exposes a problem. If opposing quarterbacks can see his potential, if fans can feel his control, if analysts are lining up to call him the real deal, why doesn't his own coaching staff trust him to lead like one? And let's not forget the weight that peer recognition carries. When Cam Ward speaks out, it's not empty chatter. It's a reflection of how the league views Sanders. Ward sees the field the same way Sanders does. He knows what it takes. And when he says Sanders is already playing like a vet, that's not just hype, it's confirmation. Sanders' leadership isn't just theoretical, either. His presence on the field has visibly elevated the team. His decision-making is clean. His teammates trust him. His ability to stay calm under fire sets a tone that others follow. That's rare. That's unteachable. That's leadership. And yet, all that seems to be getting smothered by a coaching system afraid to evolve. It's not just about opening up the playbook. It's about adapting the entire mindset. Sanders has already proven he can handle more. He's earned more responsibility, more freedom, more chances to dictate the pace of the game. Instead, Stefanski's approach seems focused on minimizing risk, as if Sanders is a liability instead of the biggest asset on the field. And that's where this starts to feel like a missed opportunity in the making. Because the longer the Browns stick with a cautious, play-it-safe philosophy, the more they risk squandering the very thing they've been missing for years: a quarterback who can lead, not just participate. A player who can inspire, not just follow a script. A guy who can change the game, not just manage it. This is the part where fans get nervous, where you start to hear the frustration in the post-game pressers, where analysts start dissecting not just the play calling, but the attitude behind it. Because this isn't just about a bad drive or a conservative call on 3rd and long. It's about the philosophy holding the whole operation back. It's about watching a franchise finally get a quarterback with real star potential, and then refusing to let him be one. And here's the twist. This isn't just bad for Sanders. It's bad for the entire team. When you've got someone capable of elevating the offense, and you won't let him, you don't just stall one player's growth. You stall the culture. You send a message to the locker room that even when someone earns it, the trust still doesn't come. That kind of message doesn't just affect the quarterback. It ripples through the entire organization. You can't build a winning culture on doubt. So now the spotlight turns, not on Sanders, but on the coaching, on Stefanski, on whether he's willing to evolve. Because if this pattern continues, if they keep limiting Sanders with safe, sanitized football, he won't be the one people blame. He'll be the one people defend. And they'll be right too. Because Sanders has already shown what he's made of. He's already proven he can handle the big moments, that he can play under pressure, make smart decisions, and carry the weight of leadership without folding. What more do you need to see before you give him the full offense and let him lead? The clock's ticking. Every game where he's underutilized is a game where the Browns are leaving potential on the table. And every time he proves he's capable, while still being held back, the frustration gets louder. And make no mistake, other teams are watching. Teams that will hand the keys to a quarterback like this. Teams that would build around him without hesitation. The kind of teams that don't let fear dictate development. That's the crossroads Cleveland is standing at. Stick with a safe approach and risk wasting a rare talent. Or change the mindset, trust the guy who's earned it, and finally let this team rise with him. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just playing well. He's playing like he's ready. And the only thing standing in his way now is whether the people around him are willing to see it. If you're riding the Shedeur wave or frustrated with the Browns' cautious play calling, sound off below. Drop a comment, share your take, and let us know if you think Stefanski needs to hand over the reins. And if you want to keep up with every twist in the story, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick with us. We'll be here every step of the way. There's a moment in every young quarterback's career when things start to click, not just for them, but for everyone watching. That moment already happened for Shedeur Sanders. The problem is, it feels like his coaching staff missed it. When Cam Ward stepped in with that unapologetic praise, it wasn't just a pat on the back. It was a spotlight, a signal flare, a loud and clear message to the league. Shedeur Sanders isn't just here. He's here to lead. And to be fair, Ward wasn't exaggerating. Sanders' performance against the Titans wasn't just good. It was clinical. It was composed. It was everything you don't expect from a rookie. Except that now, with Shedeur, maybe we should start expecting it. He read coverages like he'd been studying tape on that defense for a decade. He manipulated the pocket with an awareness that most veterans struggle to master. He didn't panic under pressure. He didn't rush throws. He stayed calm, made the reads, and executed. And let's be real, when you've got a rookie doing all that, you don't coach like he's a liability. You lean into it. You give him more. You let him steer the ship. But Kevin Stefanski? He's out here coaching like Sanders, is one bad pass away from collapsing the whole offense. That conservative, play-it-safe mentality might have made sense if Sanders looked overwhelmed. But he doesn't. At all. He looks ready. He looks sharp. And the more you try to restrain that, the more obvious it becomes that the coaching is the problem, not the quarterback. Because how long are you supposed to keep wrapping a future star in bubble wrap? How many drives need to stall before you realize it's not the quarterback holding you back? It's the fear of letting him lead. And that fear? It's costing Cleveland. You can feel the disconnect between Sanders' talent and the scheme around him. It's like watching someone trying to race a sports car through a school zone. All the power is there, but the environment won't let it breathe. And while Stefanski might think he's protecting his quarterback, what he's really doing is undermining him. Let's not forget, leadership in the NFL isn't just about calling plays. It's about knowing who you're coaching. It's about seeing potential early and knowing when to shift from cautious development to full investment. Sanders has made that shift. The only question is, why hasn't Stefanski? Because the data is already in. Shedeur's not just surviving, he's thriving. The numbers, the poise, the leadership, it's all there. You've got a rookie playing with the maturity of someone who's already had playoff reps. He's earned trust. And he's still being treated like a redshirt. And it's not just about missing out on big plays. It's about what this says to the rest of the team. When a locker room sees a leader like Sanders getting held back by safe play calling, it sends a message that no matter how ready you are, no matter how much work you put in, trust isn't guaranteed. That message kills momentum. It chips away at morale. And eventually, it fractures the foundation. Cleveland cannot afford that. They've been here before. Quarterback purgatory. Missed potential. Bad decisions compounding into wasted seasons. And now they've finally got a guy who could actually flip the script. And they're tiptoeing around him like he's not ready for the weight. It's baffling. Because here's the truth. No system, no scheme, no safe playbook is going to win games if it ignores the strengths of its most talented player. And Shedeur Sanders is by far the most important player on that offense right now. He doesn't need micromanagement. He needs trust. The board sees it. The fans see it. Analysts see it. The only people who seem slow to catch up are the ones actually calling the plays. And the worst part? The clock is ticking. If Cleveland keeps playing scared, they're going to find themselves in the exact same place they've been for the last 20 years, watching other teams win with the quarterback they had. Because let's not kid ourselves. If Sanders keeps performing at this level and the Browns continue to smother his development, other franchises will line up. Teams that know how to develop young talent. Teams that won't hesitate to hand him the reins. Teams that won't bury his leadership under 10 layers of conservative play calling. This is the kind of mistake you don't come back from easily. You don't get many chances at a quarterback who checks this many boxes. Not just with stats, but with intangibles. Composure, command, resilience. These are the things you can't teach. The things that turn good players into great ones. And when you've got that in a rookie, you lean in. You don't double down on caution. You don't call games like you're afraid of what might go wrong. You open things up. You say, let's go. Because if you don't, you risk wasting everything that's already been built. You risk being the reason your star never becomes a star. Shedeur Sanders has already proven he has what it takes. He's delivered under pressure. He's earned the respect of veterans. He's shown he can be the face of a franchise. Now the ball is in Cleveland's court. Do they evolve with him? Or do they hold him back until the opportunity slips away? Because this isn't about developing a rookie anymore. This is about recognizing when that rookie is ready to lead. And refusing to let him do that? That's not protection. That's sabotage. And fans are watching. Every cautious third and short. Every neutered red zone series. Every wasted quarter where Sanders isn't allowed to let it rip. People aren't just criticizing Stefanski's calls. They're questioning his vision. Does he see what he has in Sanders? Or is he too busy managing risk to recognize potential? Because no one is asking for reckless abandon. No one is saying give Sanders the whole playbook and tell him to wing it. What people are saying is, stop coaching like he's a problem to contain and start coaching like he's the solution. Because all signs point to the same conclusion. Shedeur Sanders is not only ready, he's necessary. He's the future. And right now, he's being held back by a coaching strategy that can't keep up with the player it's trying to manage. This is the moment. The one where a franchise decides whether it trusts its own draft decision. Whether it believes in the guy it put behind center. Whether it wants to move forward with someone who has already shown he can lead, or waste another year talking about what could have been. There's no more time to delay. The league doesn't wait. The fans won't wait. And Shedeur? He's already outpacing the expectations. Let him lead. Let him throw. Let him take the offense and make it his. Because if Cleveland doesn't, the regret will be loud. It'll be messy. And it'll be deserved. This isn't just a story about a quarterback playing above expectations. It's about what happens when the people in charge don't recognize it fast enough. And if we're being honest, that's the kind of slow burn disaster Cleveland should have learned to avoid by now. Because let's get something straight. Shedeur Sanders is the real deal. That's not projection. That's not hope. That's fact. He's proven it with every drive, every audible, every time he's dropped back and made smart, decisive throws under pressure. And still, the Browns are acting like they're not sure what they've got. Cam Ward didn't mince words. His praise was straight from the source, genuine, earned, and loud enough that it should have snapped Cleveland's coaching staff out of their trance. It wasn't media hype. It wasn't fan overreaction. It was a respected quarterback watching another quarterback command a game like a veteran and saying, yup, he's ready. So why isn't Stefanski treating him like he's ready? Why are we still seeing a game plan built around protection when the guy under center is built for production? It's like watching someone hoard candles during a blackout while holding a generator in their hand. Sanders is the generator, but Stefanski keeps striking matches. Safe, flickering, ineffective. The difference between coaching to win and coaching to not lose is subtle, but deadly. And right now, the Browns are deep in don't lose territory. That's what you get when your play calling treats your most talented player like he needs to be hidden instead of highlighted. And you can feel the tension building. Game after game, Sanders keeps showing growth. He's making plays. He's reading the defense like he's been in the league 5 years. He's not flinching in big moments. He's inspiring confidence in the huddle. The team wants to follow him. The problem is the coaching doesn't seem ready to. And that's dangerous. Not just for wins and losses, but for the long-term development of the quarterback you should be building your franchise around. This isn't a hypothetical. The history of the NFL is littered with quarterbacks who had all the tools and none of the trust. The ones who were told to take a back seat while coaches overthought the playbook. The ones who got caught in the middle of conservative systems and suffocating schemes. The ones who never got to show the full version of themselves until it was too late, or worse, never. Cleveland has that choice sitting right in front of them. They can either evolve with Sanders and build something sustainable, or they can keep doing what they're doing now, treating him like a liability when everything we've seen says he's the answer. And no one's saying throw him into the fire with no support. No one's saying run a wild offense with no structure. But give him the opportunities he's earned. Give him the freedom to make real decisions. Expand the game plan. Open up the field. Let him play. Because every game where that doesn't happen is a game where you risk losing more than points. You risk losing the faith of your quarterback. You risk losing the buy-in from the locker room. And you risk losing a fan base that's already seen too many talented players get mismanaged into mediocrity. It's bigger than just bad play calls. It's about vision, about knowing what you have and trusting it, about adjusting your coaching strategy to match the ceiling of your team, not dragging the ceiling down to match your fear. And Sanders' ceiling? It's high. You can hear it in Cam Ward's voice. You can see it in the post-game breakdowns. You can feel it in the way the locker room rallies around him. The only place you don't see it is in the playbook. And that's the red flag. Because sooner or later, if Sanders keeps playing like this and the offense keeps under-delivering, the pressure won't be on the rookie. It'll be on the headset. It'll be on Stefanski. And at that point, it won't matter how safe the game plan was. It'll matter that he never adjusted, that he never trusted the guy who showed week after week that he was built for this. And that kind of coaching blind spot, that's how franchises get stuck. That's how narratives get written, not about the quarterback who wasn't good enough, but about the team that didn't see it until he was gone. Because let's be very clear, if Shedeur Sanders ends up on a different team someday, and that team lets him run the offense's way, no one will be surprised when he takes off. People will look back and say, he was already doing this in Cleveland. They just didn't let him. That's the danger of mismanagement. It doesn't just cost you games. It costs you trust. It costs you progress. It costs you players. And if Cleveland's not careful, they'll become just another cautionary tale about how to waste a star. Because the excuses don't work anymore. He's already earned the respect. He's already proved his mental toughness. He's already shown he can lead a locker room, control a game, and deliver results. The ball is now in the coaching staff's court. They can unlock this offense, or they can stall it. They can elevate this team, or they can watch it crumble under outdated philosophies and scared decision-making. And when that moment comes, when they have to answer for why one of the league's most promising rookies was stuck in second gear, there won't be a good excuse, only regret. So here's what needs to happen. Give Shedeur Sanders the system he deserves. Trust him like Cam Ward does. Trust him like his teammates already do. Trust what you're seeing on the field every week. Because this isn't just a good start. This is the beginning of something bigger. But only if the coaching gets out of the way. If you're tired of watching potential get wasted by overly cautious game plans, drop a comment. If you believe Sanders deserves to be unleashed, say so. Share this with someone who still thinks rookie quarterbacks need to be babied. And make sure you're subscribed, because if things don't change fast in Cleveland, we're going to be talking about this moment for a very long time.